After you've settled on your comfortable seated position, gently allow the eyes to close. Tuning in to the feeling of inhalation and exhalation, using the awareness of the breath to steady the mind, giving yourself a point to focus in on. First, let the basic awareness of the breath come into your field of attention. As you're breathing in, simply become aware that you're breathing in. As you're breathing out, simply become aware that you're breathing out. Then drawing the mind inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. Allow your mind to come to rest in this small area of the body, drawing the attention inwards so that you can feel the reality of the breath. Keep your attention targeted inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. If you notice that the mind tends to get distracted, as though it's running away towards other thoughts, use the mind's point of inner awareness to count the breaths, still staying rooted inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. Be sure to coordinate counting the breaths with the reality of the sensation, so that you root each point of attention in the reality of the breath, saying to yourself in coordination with your breath, 10 in, 10 out. 9 in, 9 out. 8 in, 8 out. 7 in, 7 out. 6 in, 6 out. 5 in, 5 out. 4 in, 4 out. Remember just to bring the mind into awareness of the breath. Don't control or manipulate the breath in any way. 3 in, 3 out. 2 in, 2 out. 1 in, 1 out. Keep the mind rooted in the purity of inhalation and exhalation. Stay rooted in the real sensation of the breath. Notice the exact point of contact inside the nostrils and along the upper lip. Notice if the breath passes primarily through the right side, or if it passes primarily through the left side, or if the breath perhaps passes equally or unequally through both sides of your nostrils. Notice the rhythm of the breath. Perhaps your breath feels very deep, or perhaps the breath feels very shallow, or perhaps the breath is just in between. Remain calm and equanimous, cultivating the equanimous mind, the steady inner awareness. Refrain from judging the breath, simply observe. The breath is deep. The breath is shallow. The breath is balanced. You may notice the temperature of your breath. Perhaps the breath is very warm, or perhaps the breath is very cool, or perhaps the breath is just neutral, neither cool nor warm. Or perhaps the temperature of the breath changes between inhalation and exhalation. Just observe. Warm or cool, neutral, changing or steady. Perhaps you can feel more of the rhythm of the breath. The breath may be steady, regular, very predictable in nature. On the other hand, the breath may be very unsteady, erratic, and unpredictable, following no real pattern. The breath itself may feel very labored and heavy, may even feel stressed. On the other hand, the breath may feel very light, free, and easy. Refrain from judging the breath in any fashion. If the breath is deep, let it be deep. If the breath is shallow, let it be shallow. If the breath is heavy, let it be heavy. If the breath is light, let it be light. Refrain from assigning any value judgment to the breath. Keep the mind focused inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. Train the steady mind to remain in the Eka Tattva state, the single-pointed concentration on this feeling of the breath inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. Steady the mind, cultivating a calm, inner, objective field of awareness, where what is simply is, where reality unfolds simply as it does, free from judgment, free from any story. As the mind attempts to stay focused on the breath, it may wander away, may get lost in a stream of thoughts. No matter where the mind wanders towards, nor how long it's been gone for, as soon as you notice the mind having gone away, just ask it to come on back to the breath, back to inhalation and exhalation. Don't look for anything fantastical, anything extraordinary in the breath. Let the ordinary sensation of inhalation and exhalation be the steady point of your awareness. As we maintain the same posture for an extended period of time, there may be physical sensations throughout the body that draw your attention. There may be the feeling of numbness in the limbs, the extremities. There may be tingling, prickling, itchy, or tickly sensations throughout the body. You may even feel a sharp, pointed sensation of pain in the muscles or anywhere else in the body. Recognize that there is no risk of injury for simply sitting in the same posture for an extended period of time. And then choose not to change the posture. Simply choose not to bend according to your desire for comfort. Choose not to bend according to your aversion from pain. Instead, just stay. Accept what is. Observe the clear, neutral point of the body. Numbness in the legs or the feet. Sharp burning sensations in the back muscles. And then let them be there. Ask the mind then to return to the breath. Remain ever patient, yet ever persistent. With a compassionate yet determined hand, train the mind in its single point of attention. Stay inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. Stay. Just stay. Begin once more, noticing the placement of the breath, the right or left side, the rhythm of the breath, the temperature, the placement, all the other sensations inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. Keeping the mind steady here sharpens the edge of the mind, training its power of perception to be poignant, focused and clear, like a laser beam. As the mind comes to a point of rest on inhalation and exhalation, you may notice that the mind gets distracted. You may suddenly find yourself projecting into the future, ruminating about the past, or making commentary on the present moment, getting drawn into sounds in the environment, or drawn into reflections about your day. Each time the thoughts arise, pay them no further attention, simply recognize, my mind has gone away from my chosen object of attention. And then ask the mind, come on back to the breath. Begin once more, focusing on inhalation, exhalation, steadying the breath, steadying the mind in the awareness of the breath. Never tire of that simple awareness of inhalation, exhalation, rhythm, pace of the breath, inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. As we maintain the same posture and the same point of attention for an extended period of time, you may find some strong emotions that arise throughout your field of awareness. Perhaps suddenly you find yourself consumed with a strong emotion. Perhaps you feel anger, frustration, irritation, boredom, or any of the positive emotions like bliss, joy, or happiness. Recognize that all the emotions themselves are fleeting. Nothing is permanent in the world of mind and matter. Each time the emotion rises, simply observe, anger is present. Boredom is present. Happiness is there. And then ask the mind to come on back to the breath. Refrain from fueling the emotional firestorm any longer. Stop winding the mind around that emotion. Let it be. No emotion is wrong. Let it be. Don't resist or fight for it. Simply observe. What is simply is. And then with a kind, compassionate, and yet ever persistent hand, ask the mind to come on back to the breath. Come on back to the breath. No matter how many times your mind wanders away, no matter how strong that emotion might seem, nor how poignant the physical sensations may be through the field of the body, choose to stay diligently focused on the breath, diligently steady in your awareness of the simple pace of inhalation, exhalation, that rhythmic movement in and out of the body, the signifier of the breath. Keep your awareness of the breath rooted in the reality of the sensations of the breath. Inside the nostrils, along the upper lip, and on your nose. Keep the mind focused on inhalation and exhalation. Let no sensation of the breath be too ordinary or too mundane for you to focus on. Heighten the powers of concentration by steadying the mind on the simple reality of inhalation, exhalation. Each time a thought, an emotion, or physical sensation arises, it is like a temptation that begs you to deviate off the straight and narrow path of inner awareness. Instead, keep the mind equanimous, single-pointed, and redirect it. Redirect the mind into inhalation and exhalation. Staying focused in a calm and equanimous manner on the breath, regardless of what happens in the mind, in the thoughts, in the emotions, in the body, in the world around you. The steady course of equanimity is the ability to stay focused on a single point of attention while keeping the mind free from any stories about reality. Let reality simply be. Don't try to control or manipulate the breath in any fashion. Simply observe what is simply is. Your breath simply is as it is. It is neither good nor bad. It simply is. As the power of concentrating the mind begins to be more focused, you'll take a few steps down the very long road of training the mind. Having the mind now in a more introspective state. As the mind drops down into a deeper state of inner awareness, you can shine the light of that awareness through the field of the body, perhaps leading one day to the direct experience of the true self in the innermost experience. Bring the mind's point of attention to the top of the head and begin to feel the body. working from your head, your eyes, your nose, the lips, the chin, the throat, the soft palate, the spine, the shoulders, down through the arms and the biceps, the elbows, down through the forearms, the wrists, the palms, and the fingertips. Moving through the chest, the shoulder blades, the upper back, the middle back, the rib cage, the chest cavity, the diaphragm, the low belly, the lower back, the sacrum, the pelvis, the hip joints, the pelvic bowl, the emptiness inside of the pelvis, the thighs, down through the knees, through the calves, the shins, the ankles, soles of the feet, and the toes. Move the mind back up through the soles of the feet, through the ankles, the knees, calves, the backs of the thighs, the fronts of the thighs, the middle of the thighs, into the hip joints, into the sitting bones and the space between the sitting bones, the pelvis, the pelvic bowl, the emptiness inside of the pelvis, the abdomen, the rib cage, the spine, the shoulder blades, the chest and the chest cavity, the fingertips, the palms, the forearms, the elbows, the upper arms, the shoulders, the neck, the face, the teeth, the soft palate, the nose, the eyes, the cheeks, the forehead, the ears, the back of the head, through the scalp to the top of the head. Having experienced the body, drop the mind down into the heart center, to the space inside of the innermost body, behind the sternum. Drop the mind here, free of expectations, and experience what is. Perhaps it is possible to hear with the inner sense of hearing, listening to the voice of the innermost spirit. Perhaps it is possible to perceive with the inner sight, the innermost spirit within. Perhaps it is possible to touch with the inner sense of touch, the innermost self. Perhaps it is possible to taste the breath of life that is the innermost spirit within. Grabbing hold of the organs of the five senses, even the inner sense of smell, to find and feel the true self within. Not as a visualization, but as a real experience, the reality of what is the true self. Seek the answer with inner awareness. And over time, with consistent practice, it will be revealed. Allow yourself a deep conscious inhalation. And on the next breath out, gently allow the eyes to open. And slowly and calmly, you can begin to change your posture. Good job.